Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the chair of the Washoe County Commission, Alexis Hill, joins us here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, come to you from Carson City at the home of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We are delighted to welcome back to the program Alexis Hill. She is the chair of the Washoe County Commission. Pleasure to have you back on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to chat with you.
Well, thank you. Let's start out with what may have come as a surprise to a lot of people was the mayor of Sparks saying that there was quite a large budget shortfall for Sparks, and looking ahead even more so. In looking at that, how's Washoe County and Reno doing in your opinion?
Well, we are all experiencing our revenues not meeting our expenses. Because our both the PERS we need to pay out for employees, and then paying employees the appropriate amount of money to live in Northern Nevada, as we've discussed, is quite expensive. We all had to shift after COVID and pay employees additional amounts. And so with that outpacing, our expenses outpacing our revenues, we're in some trouble. We have fiscal deficits with the property tax that we have in Nevada because it depreciates every year. So realistically, we're just not keeping up with inflationary numbers with the growth that we're experiencing. And what's really tough is that when I have talked to my colleagues in Southern Nevada, and I've been really trying to reach out and see where there's common ground, they have tourists who are paying much more than the locals as far as tax revenues. So they receive almost half their budget from C-Tax, and we do not in Washoe County or Reno or Sparks, because we just don't have that tourist bed base that we really need. And I think that's why we were low tax at one point, and I think we've got to reevaluate that.
I know that the Convention Authority is doing quite well as far as beds and heads in beds. Is there a way to look at that as a way of increasing revenue? And are there enough beds to make that make sense versus Clark County, where obviously you have 150,000 hotel rooms.
Right. I think that they are. I'm on the RSCVA board. I'm really proud of the work we're doing. And I think that we are seeing people wanting to visit here, wanting to invest in our community and love coming to Northern Nevada. So that's exciting. But no, we don't have enough rooms essentially to keep up with the expenses of running a local government, which I will say is becoming more and more demanding every day as we grow as a community. And we have folks coming here from California and other states who expect a certain level of service that in Nevada it's very difficult to provide.
All right, so what's the solutions that are being thrown around at this point?
Well, I think what local governments need to do is look at any taxing authority that they may have. The county commission has opportunities, very few, but the legislature has given us opportunities and given us some taxing authority. Our roads are rated as D and F in the county, unincorporated Washoe County. And as you can imagine, we have acres and acres of, or miles and miles of roads that need to be rehabbed. And if we don't rehab them, then they must be rebuilt. So trying to find a way to pay for our roads is something that this commission is looking to do. And also homeless services. If there's an opportunity to find a tax that the county can enact for homeless services, I think that that's something that we need to do since we have picked that up. And we see that we have had successes, but we need to continue to invest and get people housed. So I think it's finding additional revenues. And then once we've done that, we go to the state and say, here's the help we need. And I'm hoping we can do that, probably not this session realistically, but in collaboration with our partners in Southern Nevada next session.
All right, so whom would those taxes land on? That's the real question.
Right. I mean, the two taxes that I understand that Washoe County can enact are the supplemental government service tax, which is the gas tax, or excuse me, your car registration tax. And so it would be a penny per $100 valued. They estimate it would be about a $21 million revenue source for the county. We could look at rehabbing our roads, and the legislature, when they gave us this right to enact this tax, which the county still has not done, but I'm hoping we'll do this year, that we could spend it on other government services as needed. Additionally, there's sales tax. There may be an opportunity for the county to enact a small sales tax increase, and the legislature is discussing right now as we speak how we could use that sales tax, but we're hearing that they're leaning more towards homeless services, which, as you know, is something that we're doing. So
right. So where do we sit currently as far as sales tax goes, and where would you potentially want to see it go?
I think we're allowed to increase a 25-cent increase on sales tax. And both these taxes, SGST and sales tax, are regressive taxes. I'm not excited about enacting additional taxes for our communities, but I also think we need to be realistic and pay for what we need to pay for. At Washoe County, we've been incredibly conservative, and we have been great stewards of the taxpayer money, but we don't want to lay people off. We want to continue to provide services. And so I think that we have to use the tools in our toolbox, and the legislature has given us those two tools, and just figuring out how we can enact those taxes and also be accountable to the community is huge. And then go back to the legislature and see if there's other ways that we can lighten the burden. Because to me, we all know where the wealth in America is. It's in property. It's having a realistic conversation about property tax. And if we did that, perhaps we could reduce all these other taxes that to me are not fair, the sales tax, large sales tax, and paying to register your car. So I think that there's a way to have this conversation, and I'm hoping we can have that in the next legislative session.
Okay, do you look at that though as the third rail of politics? Because after Prop 13 in California, and then we had our own version of that in Nevada, people who own the homes and are likely to be voters would not be very happy about a change in that.
Well, I think that it's having a really good conversation with our community about what we need. So when you talk to folks in Southern Nevada, they have very healthy budgets right now. However, if we were to go through a recession, seat tax would decrease. People are not going to travel to Vegas. Let's be realistic. So it's about buoying your revenues, making them sustainable. Property tax, except for the Great Recession when people were losing their homes, which was another structural issue that hopefully we fix through federal government regulation. But for the most part, property tax is very stable, a stable revenue source. And it really is not fair that someone like me, who I live in a 1948 house in the Old Southwest, and I am paying about $1,400 a year in property tax. My property is fully depreciated. And someone who lives in Spanish Springs in a brand new home is paying way more than that. And our homes are not of equal value. So I think that there's a way to work through this, especially because this community has told us so many times, you know, we don't mind the growth, but we want to see the payout of the growth. When I was knocking on doors, I had so many parents tell me, I'm okay with Reno growing, I'm okay with Northern Nevada growing, but where are the fields for my kids to play? You know, I want to see the rewards of a bigger community, and it's so hard for local government to make those investments when we're barely paying for our staffing expenses. So that is the discussion that we need to have, is about fairness, about who pays for the growth. It's new people coming in. You know, I think that Assemblywoman Anderson's bill that she has talking about property tax and reset, and how it would reset when it's sold. I think that is what we're talking about, is fairness. If you're in your home today, you would not have to pay for an increase.
One of the things that has been pretty spectacular in terms of success has been the RTC's gas tax to fix the roads. And I think for the most part, the roads in Northern Nevada and Southern Nevada as well are in pretty darn good shape because of that tax. Is there a way to have some kind of RTC for Washoe County? Because potentially that could take care of things like, you know, transportation between Reno Sparks and TRI, for example, where there are great needs as far as roads go and bus services and things like that, but there's no money to pay for it. Is that something that's even a possibility?
Well, I'm on the RTC board, and right now I'm chair, and we just had a really great retreat that one of the agenda items was talking about this regional transportation role of RTC. And the board has already said, we want you to support our residents who are commuting to TRI. We know that I-80 is quite unsafe. We want to find alternative routes. We're doing a study on rail right now. We obviously, you know, Sparks' bill that they're looking to have a road from
a toll road.
The toll road in Spanish Springs. Additionally, NDOT is looking at widening I-80, and then there's a southern road that NDOT has also done a study on to connect residents to TRI. So,
and that's from South Reno, right?
Yes, and that's mainly private property and has its own issue. All these solutions have their own,
of course,
problems and costs, and but my understanding is that NDOT is really aggressively pursuing that widening on I-80. They've secured the funding, and they want to see how they can move forward with that. And speaking to residents who commute to TRI, I mean, they deserve a life outside of work. And right now, they can't even get daycare if they list TRI as a employer, because it takes them so long to actually get back into town. And so there are these issues that we must look at regionally, and I think that that's something that RTC needs to tackle. Additionally, how do we support community members getting up to Lake Tahoe in a sustainable way so people can enjoy Lake Tahoe, but we can also manage really great public transit up there? These are big regional discussions that we need to have.
Okay, so to go back to my original point, though, is there a way to be able to enable Washoe County to have some, either to be a part of RTC beyond the area that it covers now to where that gas tax would be able to be expanded. Because if you go out to TRI, obviously the price of gas is cheaper.
Right, right. That's a great question. So that Washoe RTC could go into Story County, is that what you're asking? So,
Well, I mean,
or
across Washoe County, period.
right. Well, and I think that that is the push and pull under RTC. There are some folks who want to see RTC focus on local roads, and other people want to see RTC focus on the regional road network. And we've kind of created a precedent that we are focusing on the regional road network and on the NDOT road network, because NDOT, again, another issue with the state, that we don't properly fund these state agencies, and NDOT can't and doesn't have the staffing to fix all of their roads. So RTC, we are fixing many NDOT roads, McCarran, 580, Pyramid Highway. And so that we have our hands, we're full with that as well. So yes, these are some of the debates we're having, but I think what we're looking at and focusing on now is that if there's congressionally directed spending, which we'll see if that even exists anymore, the traditional earmarks that we have been able to acquire, RTC wants to look at using those earmarks for local roads instead of for their uses, understanding that we potentially, hopefully, the federal funding stays the same for surface transportation grants and all the public transportation grants we get, that they can pay for one-time funding for local roads. So yes, it's a balance.
To say the least. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Alexis Hill. She's the chair of the Washoe County Commission after this timeout.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food.
It's a good time to eat.
Over 500 hot slots, plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Alexis Hill. She is the chair of the Washoe County Commission. You've got a couple of really huge projects that are in the pipeline. The Grand Sierra Resort is looking at $1 billion project. Jeff Jacobs was on the program from the J Resort, who's looking at between $1.5 billion and $2 billion over the next decade to invest in his property. And tax increment financing, TIF, is the public financing method used to support redevelopment and infrastructure projects. How does this play out, and how does this benefit Washoe County, Reno-Sparks?
Well, the nice thing about TIF is that you only get it if you invest. You make those investments, so it's not like cash that we put out and we don't see the results. You actually have to make those investments on the ground, and we are going to see substantial increases even if the projections are a little inflated. I mean, we're going to see substantial increases in C-tax. We'll see a lot more people coming to this region to experience the new GSR, experience the new Jacobs property, and we'll see property tax increase as well. So I think that will benefit all of the services that we provide at Washoe County, because so much of our revenues come from property tax and taking care of the most vulnerable people like we've discussed, and also seeing how we can reinvest in our working families, get trails online, get parks and recreation, improve their roads that they use, all of those things. That's very important to make sure that we support these large employers and large economic drivers like our casinos.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be right back with Alexis Hill after this.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Alexis Hill. She's the chair of the Washoe County Commission. Things seems to have calmed down at the county commission meetings over the last couple of months here. Am I right about that?
You are right, and I think that the election helped. I think that there was so much stress and concern on both sides of the aisle with the election that created a lot of community, concern and turnout at board meetings. And so now we're not seeing folks who we typically see come out, and we're able to conduct the business a little bit more easily. I mean, there are issues that people are talking to the county commission about on the ballot. For example, the library initiative failed, and so people are concerned about library hours being cut, and that's something that the county commission will have to tackle with our upcoming budget.
I'm really sad about that. The libraries are so important.
I know. I think that there was a missed opportunity with seeing how we could support that initiative. But I also, realistically, that tax still exists. The 2 pennies still are there. It's just how the county commission wants to allocate it and how the library board of trustees, wants to bring forward that initiative. But when I first started on the board, we expanded library hours and we expanded library days on the weekends so families could use the libraries more often. And so it would be heartbreaking if the board didn't want to continue supporting them.
Okay, I think probably the last question here is, you've got an employee that is working remotely and not in the county. There's been a lot of noise about this. What are your thoughts on major employees who are not residing in Washoe County?
Well, I think I was quoted in the newspaper saying it's concerning, and it is. I want to see people who make large amounts of money stay here in the county, spend their money in the county. Commissioner Andriola at our last meeting asked for an investigation to see what this employee's contract is and whether it's being fulfilled, and also other employees at Washoe County and whether they're working out of state and what that policy looks like. When that employee was appointed by the board, there was no information on the staff report that that employee worked remotely. We changed that and we said we want to see that any appointments coming to the board have that information. So but we also have to look to our county manager, and it's his job to manage the day-to-day of the county. We are a strong manager form of government, and so it's a fun balance of figuring out how to put the right policy in place, but also understand that the county commission doesn't manage the county every day.
Do you have full faith in the county manager?
I think that we are continuing to work through some of these issues, these management issues that we've been seeing. So we're trying to see the next steps and what that looks like.
And that's where we have to leave it. I thank you so much for coming down to Carson City to do this, especially in the middle of a giant wind and rainstorm here. Thank you always.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, come to you from Carson City, from the headquarters of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching.